All right, welcome back. So in this video, I'm going to take you through basically where we left off. As I was doing a little bit of a review of what we did last time, there's a couple little things I do want to change and then move forward with. So a couple of things. One, the way we're actually printing out each of these activities that took place. Right now, we're basically setting up for it to paginate within the for each loop. But what we want to do probably here is we want to take this and we want to put this in the controller and then send it across as a variable when we set up the view. So I'm going to get rid of this. We're going to call this one activities. And we'll go ahead and we'll find prospect activities controller under index. And we'll change this up a little bit. So we'll say activities. We'll go like this. I'll clean up our code a little bit even further here. So we're actually passing along. Let's see here. Compact. So then we need to pass through prospect. So let's see here. Prospect. Now what we can do here is add things like the links to be able to paginate through our prospects. So let's go back to our main page here. You can see nothing's changed, so that's good. It's still spitting this out, which is great. So let's go ahead, we'll pretty this up a little bit, and then the other change that we're going to make is where we go to actually create an activity. We are going to remove the follow-up in here. Actually, we'll come back to that because we'll create a little follow-up form. Maybe we'll do that as in the form of a modal, which would be great. Let me see here. So one thing we want to add up here is we want to very simply put in some links that are provided to us through Laravel. And this is nothing new. I think this goes back to Laravel 5 even. So we'll say activities links. We won't see anything at the moment because, of course, we only have one activity in there. Okay. All right, activities links, activities as activity, and then we basically just spit out the activity in there. So let's see what we got here. So a card appears for each activity that we do, and then we get to see some documents next to that. So let's start by, we'll decipher this a little bit. So we'll go with communication type, which in this case was a phone call. So how do we want to do this? We'll go with this for now. Okay. Actually, let's split that up into two sides. Okay, and we'll say activity type. And then in here we can go activity. And look at how that's, sorry, communication type. No, type is cold outreach. In that case. And let's actually wrap this in some header tags. So we'll cut that. We'll go down, we'll say communication. How's this looking so far? Okay, activity type, communication type, phone call. There's some things we can do, like we could create our own little methods. There's some methods available to us in Laravel as well to make these look a little prettier, like getting rid of the underscore and then making the first letter uppercase. So we'll look at those in a few minutes here. What else do we have? So it's a phone call. The type is cold outreach. Then we probably put a little section in here for our notes. So we'll say notes, and then we'll have a paragraph in here. And we will say, actually, you know what I want to do? I mean, this is definitely not the final thing we plan to do, right? But here, I can go, I'll put our paragraph down here. So actually we'll say H5. We'll say notes, and then let's put a paragraph down here. And I do believe, how do our notes come through? They're just regular notes, so there's nothing formatted. I don't think we have to print out any HTML. So, nothing to worry about there. Okay, so activity dash notes. I'm going to get rid of this for now, and we'll pull up. This is a note. H5, why is that up here right next to it? Okay. Oh, sorry, this is why. Because, of course, I'm within the row here. So let's try this. We'll see how Bootstrap formats that for us. Yep, and that's perfectly fine. And here I might want to give ourselves some kind of horizontal rule to break things up. Okay, yeah, that's okay for now. Obviously, we can extend upon that significantly there. And let's see here. In this case, what can we do? So there's obviously documents that are coming with this. Let's come down here and see what that looks like. Okay. All right, great. So these are the documents that come with it. We don't have any notes on this specified documents, but we do have some documents in there. So maybe on the right-hand side, we could say like documents, and then how might we want to do this? Let's see here, activity ID path. Public path. I want to pull this in. Don't necessarily want to give previews. I mean, unless it is, you know, a PNG or a JPEG or something, then, I mean, that is something we could do. Is give a little preview of it. Really what we should have been adding here to the prospect document is a title, a document title in this case. You know what, at this point, I think what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to simplify this for us. I'm going to get rid of, let's see here, all of this. We're going to rip out a fair bit of this in here. Not ideal, but like I said, this is kind of an unscripted, something unscripted that I am putting together here. So it kind of is what it is. But let's go back to our create and okay, so activity, so communication type, great, activity, notes, and then we have documents in here. Don't want documents, don't want none of this follow-up stuff. Let's get rid of that. Okay. Okay, let's go to our prospect activities controller. So in here we would have had create and store. Types, notes, and this is all we're pushing through right now. Let's go to our migration, see what's in here. So prospect ID, communication type, type notes. type notes. Okay. Okay, fine. That's great. We don't need to change anything in there then. We're not sending anything in really. We're just basically processing the documents. So let's go back to our prospect activities controller. We'll rip all of this out here. And we're going to create a separate section for adding our documents. Okay, create notes, add activity. I don't think we're passing anything else through there anyways, so that's fine. Okay, let's see what, oops, not what I wanted to do. Control R. Okay, we'll refresh that. Great. Okay, so we can add an action. I'm going to call this actually add an activity or create activity in our index where our button is up top. And, we could actually say instead it could be log activity is probably more accurate in there, right? So prospect activities. Okay. Let's go back to our manage prospects table here. All right. So we can view the activity. That brings us there. This one is for editing the actual prospect. And we might as well create some kind of a dashboard for our individual prospect. So we could call it prospect dashboard for now. So that's the index for the activities. Let me see here, prospect document. Over here, right on. Can we just go to our prospect card? Okay, so back to our prospect card. We'll say edit prospect. A dot drop down dash item. And we're going to call this one admin prospects dot dashboard. Dot dashboard. Okay, so that one doesn't exist right now. Edit prospect, view activity. Okay. So let's go to our routes. I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to close everything here, start fresh for myself. We'll say views, so admin prospects. No, not views. I need routes. Web prospects activities. So prospects, activities, and then dashboard. So admin. So prefix in this case is going to be prospects. Okay. Name admin prospects create. Admin prospects dashboard. Okay, so we don't want it to interfere with anything in here. So we'll put dashboard. Hold on just a tick. And then this one shows the prospect. Okay. Let's see here. This is the prospects dashboard. Sorry, we need a prospect dashboard. So let's go back to our card. Prospects. Go .prospect.dashboard. That would be an option as well. Admin prospects prospect dashboard. So in this case, I'm going to go route get dashboard. Probably something I'll come back and rename, but there's always refactoring. if you haven't, really taken the time up front to plan your project out, right? So where we'll be fairly explicit with this. 1039 plus, and we'll say name dot dashboard. So let's go ahead and create this controller now. And we'll say, what's our convention here? Actually, we're going to go prospect dashboard controller. Okay, so we'll say admin prospect. Prospect dashboard controller. Okay. So we'll bring that one in. So that looks like up there. And save that. F12 for that namespace resolver is a shortcut to pull this up. So function index, we definitely want to bring in our prospect. And we want to return a view here. So that view is going to be admin. Well, let's check out our view structure. Of course, it's been about 2 weeks since I did a video on this, so the other projects that I have in my mind running around might be done a little bit differently. Okay, so admin prospects. Dashboard. Okay, but this makes a little more sense to me. Not prospect, but prospect. And let's go ahead. Sign prospect. And as we bring in some of this stuff here, I mean, it's not like we're querying things with an API on the back end with Ajax. So I'm not too concerned about loading different relationships right in the front because Laravel breaks out those MySQL queries. When whether it lazy loads it or whether it loads it as you need it. In the system. So, okay, so we have prospects. So let's go ahead and create this view. So admin prospects, new file, prospect / index.blade.php, extends, layouts, .app. At section title, and we'll say prospect dash, what does our prospect actually look like? So our prospects, so name, email, profile image, etc., etc. Okay, so we'll take the prospect name. We'll just say dashboard. Oops. Dashboard, okay. The section content in this case. I do believe I have to add a container class in here. Like I said, it's been a couple of weeks since I've worked on this code base. So within container, we can break out our content into a few different ways. So I'm probably going to want to know, what were the most recent activities that took place? What are some of the documents, some of the recently added documents for this particular user? One other thing I do want to do is I'm going to go to this table, so create prospect documents table. I'm going to get rid of activity ID. I think it was kind of a bad idea, I guess, to even add those documents in there. So we're just going to note the prospect ID, but we will also add table and we'll say string document title. Call this, well, let's call it name, and we'll make that one required. Notes can be nullable, path can be nullable. That'll be fine. Okay, let's come over here. I'm gonna roll back. Prospect documents and activities. Yeah, those are the two ones we want to roll back. So PHP artisan migrate. Okay. All right. Okay, we're gonna step back a little bit here and refresh. Okay. Admin prospects prospect.dashboard. Okay, that's fine. So to fix that, we'll go prospects. Name admin.prospects dashboard. Prospect dashboard. Let's see what's going on. Admin.prospects. Prospect.dashboard. Okay, let's verify our spelling is correct. Admin.prospects.prospect.dashboard. Where is that? Use static. Prospect card. Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, because we're missing a parameter in there. So, prospect card. Okay, that solves our problem right there. Great. Okay, let's add an activity here. No, sorry. We'll go view activity. We can add an activity or log activity in here. You need to throw things a little bit differently here. Let's go to prospect dashboard. Admin prospects prospect.dashboard. No, okay, so let's go back to this. Here, this one should actually be index. Index always corresponds to kind of a dashboard page anyways for that particular item. So now we can come back in here. Let's refresh this. Okay, great, and we see nothing. So now what we can do is we can create our card, and in here I will do prospect dashboard text dash muted, and in here we will say prospect dash name. Let's see what that looks like. Great. Okay, happy with that. Let's go back. Okay, but let's make that actually an H1 instead. Great. Okay, we're looking good then. Okay, sounds good. So let's say I won't put any HR in there. We'll create new cards for each one to summarize it. In this case, I'm going to go card.mt-3.card-body, and I'm going to call this one recent activity. So this one will make an H3, recent activity. So HR, and then what we can do to log the recent activity is just give a little bit of a blurb about it, I guess. So, and then a link out to more details on that activity that way. So first of all, I don't want to pull in all the activities that they've done, but let's put a for each loop in here to do that. activity, and we'll just get the latest, and we'll limit it to maybe the 5 latest. Yes, that's what we'll do. Pardon me. Activity. Now there won't be any activity in here for us. So right now, I'll just put this here as a placeholder, and we'll say activity type, and we'll wrap that in an H6. Okay, so we don't see anything in there. Let's add a button on the right hand side here. So d-flex ml-auto is another container we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and copy this up into here. And then over here, I'm going to put in a drop down. Default. Actually, you know what? I don't want it to... No, we will do an actions in here. So we'll say add an activity. And I'm going to close the rest. All right. I'm going to say dash outline secondary and make this small. And then in here, we'll say route. And the route is going to be admin.prospect.activity. Yeah, .activity. Well, let's check our routes here and see what the story is. Prospect dashboard controller. So prospect activity. Okay, so activities. So it's probably going to be prospects, activities, and then create is my guess. Activities, create. And we're going to need to add the prospect ID in there. Great. Add an activity. Okay. I want to go back a second here. And I'm going to say drop down dash menu dash right. And with how big everything is, this is kind of a personal preference. I'm going to leave this the size it is. So that drop down dash menu dash right just aligns it with the right side of the menu, which is important if you go off screen here. We don't want it overlapping. So we'll add an activity. Great. Let's see if this works. So we'll say we made a phone call. We'll say cold outreach. All right. Attempted to reach the prospect, but was unable to. Not found. Prospect documents .activity underscore ID in where clause. Okay, so actually what happened is it did store it, but now we're back at our activities table. So that's fine. Let's go over there to our activities table, which would be under index, activity communication type. Oh, you know what? In all likelihood, this is sitting in the controller. So probably in the prospect activities controller. And we're trying to pull it in with a view. And we just need to get rid of this. All right, let's do this. Okay, great. Okay, so that's in there. Fantastic. We will leave it there for now. Okay, I think what I want to do is add under actions log activity. Let's go to activities /index. Get rid of the button small again. Again, personal preference in here. typically a lot of the CRMs and things I build out, because we have a lot of activity going on the page, a lot of the font sizes are smaller, but we're keeping this pretty simple, so we'll keep it kind of with the big fonts, the big looking buttons, so on and so forth. Log activity, we'll say a dot drop down dash item, and this is going to route to admin dot prospect dot dashboard. I can do prospect or I can do prospect ID, and we'll just say prospect dashboard as an option as to where we can go. Okay, great. That sounds good. One other item I'm going to add in here, down here, on this particular card is just to log, when did this all happen? When did this all go down? So probably I'm going to institute our rows again in here. Actually, no. I'm gonna say this. And what should we do? We'll say this size of H6. Emphasize. Let's see here. We'll say date. And we'll throw the date in there, right? So month, day, year, str to time, and that is going to be activity dash created at, right? See what happens. Okay, I figured that would happen. That's fine. And we'll just wrap this in a div and see if that solves that for us. And that it does. Okay, so now we have the date as to when this actually happened. Let's add some additional details in there, like hours, minutes, 21:57. Okay, we'll just do the 12-hour, basically, instead. And I do believe it's GI, and then we can add in our uppercase, basically AM or PM. 9:57 PM. Okay, perfect. One other factor you'd want to consider in is what time zone the server should be at. So you'd want to kind of keep that with the client, or we might even want to put something in here like, what time zone does this work out to? So that would be that would also be an option, right? So yeah, let's actually do that then. So if you actually have a team working on various time zones, there you go, UTC. Perfect. What's another option? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, PM UTC. What else? Okay, we'll leave it at that for now. Let's go back to our prospect dashboard. We have a recent activity, which is cold outreach in here. Get rid of that. Let's go prospect. So we have the recent activity in there. And we will basically want to link out to this activity to get the details on it. And we could show like a single activity page, or we could, what would be another option for us to do in there? Could show a single activity page. I don't know. For now, we'll throw in a route here to go to where we need to go. So we'll say admin.prospects.activities.show. And we can do this one of two ways. One, I can pass through the prospect ID. We could be as specific as possible. ID, and then I could also do activity, and we'll say -ID. This will be for our routes. So we're going to break something here once we refresh. Great. We broke something. That's fine. Not a problem. Let's see here. Okay, great. Okay, let's go to our routes now again. Prospect activities. Yes. Okay, let's try this. We'll go route get prospect and activity. So we'll hijack our prospect activities controller. And we'll say show in here. Okay. So let's go here to this definition. We'll say stores. Let's go. Not stores, sorry. And in here, we're just going to return a view, which will be admin.prospect.activities. I wonder how. So we could break this up into a couple different ways in terms of our hierarchy. I'm not going to put too much thought into it right now, but I'll go admin prospects activities, and then I can just go show, I suppose. And we'll say prospect activities, not activities, sorry. Like that. Okay. That would probably work for us. So admin prospects activities show. So let's go to our resources, views, admin prospects, activities. Okay, so that already does exist. That's good. Show.blade.php. Okay, so b extends layouts.app. We will say section. Give this said section a title, and this one we'll just call. We'll say activity. We'll reverse that actually. activity. Okay. Resection content. Container. And we will, as we always do, we'll add a card to this one. 3, all right, card dash body. And then we'll say H1 and we'll start with the prospect's name. And then we'll say small dot text dash muted. Sorry, I want to say that. Activity type. There. All right. A couple things I'm going to want to do here, like string replace, and anywhere there's an underscore, I want to replace that with a space. In this case, one other thing I want to do is UC words. This is going to make it uppercase for all of the individual words. So here we're replacing the underscore with a space, and then we're capitalizing the letters. Ideally, what we do in here is we create a string, we create some kind of a method to just handle that for us. Maybe we could use the string class that's provided to us with Laravel, because even within the string class, there's things like, we can uppercase everything or whatever. Okay, so that's how that looks. And let's come back to our main page here, show recent activity, cold outreach. So let's go back. Let me go back a little bit further here. Let's go back to that index page here, and we'll apply basically the same thing. Actually, we need to do this. We need to, first of all, put this over here, and we need to, let's say you see words. No, sorry, you see words. And then we want to do string underscore replace. Okay, let's see how that looks. There's 3 parameters, of course they do. There we go. Okay, so we got cold outreach. Let's increase the size of this one, see how this looks for us. Cold outreach. For now, we will inscribe the date on that. And just like we did before, and we'll say year, day, sorry, not day, I'm going to do month, year, at, actually, you know what, at this point, what I think we should do is we should give ourselves some actual date helpers. So we could use Carbon. Carbon is one example of a library we could use built for us. Or create a few of our own methods in this case. So let's see here. How do I want to handle that? Okay, well, I'll leave that for now. Okay. Cold outreach. Okay, so we know what time that happened. And I'm actually going to add one other thing to this. We'll do small with the class of text-muted. And let's go ahead, cut all that in there. And we'll put that there. There we go. Okay, that looks a little bit better. I mean, if we really want this to actually look much better, which, why not take the time to actually do that? We could go ul.list-group in here, and then each one of these could be in a list-group-item, which would be in the form of an li. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's say li group-item, shift end, that will highlight everything, which would be great. And there's some other ways we can break this down as well, like just because our line is getting really long, which we might not want to do. I don't want to have a really long line like that. Let's see what happens here, how that looks when it's all formatted. Okay. Yeah, okay, so that looks a little bit better. So cold outreach, January 01, blah, blah, blah. Another option here. Let's see how this actually formats for us. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like that. I like that a little bit better. So this type was cold outreach. Now if we click on it, we are brought to this page. Great, Tyson test. So this will be the prospect's name. And then cold outreach is what we did. And let's go back to that show activity page in there. Let's put a horizontal rule in there as well. Let's add some other small details, like, what's an example of a small detail? Okay, well, let's take a look at what our prospect activity actually looks like. So communication type is phone call. So let's say H5 is going to be communication type. You see words, str underscore replace the underscore, create a space in there, and we will go activity dash communication type. Okay. Now, and then we would have some notes. So we'll throw in some notes there. H5, we'll say notes, and we'll throw our notes within a paragraph. Okay, yeah, I'm happy enough with that for now. So Tyson test, cold outreach, communication type, phone call, notes, blah, 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 attempted to reach prospect but was unable to. Probably the only other thing we're going to need is maybe the date in there. So let's put the date right here. And again, we'll say we're using this so often here, not necessarily with the prospect, but with the activity even. We could create our own method in here to return it as part of a kind of as a standard set of methods where we return the date. So we could build it out as a trait. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to say created at pretty. It's a prettified date. I'm wondering what our other options are here. We could also create a date class. No, I'm going to do this as a trait that we can then add on to each of those. So let's go over to our prospect activity model. And let's go ahead and add in our model dates trait. And Oh, we don't have a section for traits yet. Okay, cool. So, traits, I'm going to call this, I'll put this under models, and I'm going to call this one model dates trait.php. Okay, so I haven't created a trait for you guys so far in this one. Control Alt G. No, yeah, Control Alt G. Let me double check that. Control Alt G is going to resolve our namespace for us, and we'll say model dates trait. So public function, we'll say get created at pretty attribute, and we'll basically return under date. Date will be if day year at, we'll say G minutes, AM or PM, and then UTC, whatever that is for the date, for the default time zone. And then we'll say str to time is going to be this dash created at. Now we have full control over how this is going to look. Now let's actually pull this into our activity trait. So Control I when we're over top of that. We'll show created at pretty. This actually changes because we're using that magical method get blah 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 attribute. So created at pretty should give us that. It's pretty date. Awesome. And it does. Okay. What's another option we have in here? I guess I'm going to do one other thing actually. I'm going to say let's put this. Usually, I mean, I could put it at the bottom right hand side. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll put it in the bottom right hand side. Okay, great. Yeah, that looks good now. So January 3rd, 2021, after 7 p.m., which is great. Okay, so that's how that looks. Now let's go back to, now let's create a little submenu in here. So we're going to need to do a d-flex in this case, and we'll say ml-auto. And we're going to, no, we'll go with the default dropdown. Secondary, we'll do outline. Outline dash secondary. Create some actions for us in here. One of the actions we're going to want to do is go to the we could say like view all activities. All right. I have to go over to the routes and find out what the deal is with that. So admin prospects activities dashboard. We'll say prospect there. All right, let's grab this. Let's put this up above. See how we look now. Okay, great. View all activities. Okay, so that's our list of activities. Let's go here and add drop-down menu right. Dash menu dash right. Let's. So it's kind of from a user experience point of view. I'm not sure what we'd want to see first. View all activities, or would we want to go to the prospects dashboard? Right, that might be an option for us. Okay, that brings us back. No, we don't want to do that one. We actually want to go to the prospect dashboard. Dot prospect. Okay. And there we go. So we're back at that prospect dashboard. Okay, so that's great. Some other things we might want to do in here is like, add a document section now. So let's get that started. And for us to be able to store documents. So you get rid of this one. Prospect activities, we'll get rid of that. Prospect activity, model dates, trait. Prospect activity. We're limiting that to 5 of the most recent activities. And okay, go to here. Let's see here. So this one, we'll add some notes in here. So this one is going to be our activities preview. And the one below, we're going to make our documents preview as an option. So .card.mt-3, .card-body. What do we have up here? Is that as an H3? Yes, it is. Okay. All right, so we'll say prospect documents as an example. And actually, let's go ahead and add a class in here. -auto. Yeah, okay, that's fine. And we'll cut this up here. Now we can do we'll do another drop down. And we'll say that one is going to be outline. There as well, we'll say actions. Okay, we'll say add a document. And I think in this case, what we'll do is we'll actually go data target equals modal. And then data dash, no, sorry, that data target. I meant to say actually data dash, what is it now? Data dash toggle. Okay, data target is going to equal a add. I have to make this an ID, so we'll say add prospect document modal. Okay, documents preview. I think I'm using Bootstrap 4 on this, so that's kind of important to know. Okay, so this one's going to be, all right, add documents modal. We'll create the modal here, but then we'll split it up and put it in its own file afterwards. So we'll say add what did I call that one? Prospect document modal. Modal. Let's make this one large to begin with. And we'll say, all right, add a document for this prospect. Actually, instead of saying for this prospect, we'll say add a document for dash name. And then in here, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get rid of this. We'll post. And we'll say form dash group. And label, we're going to call this one a, well, let's take a look at what the documents actually look like. So prospect document. Okay, that's over here. So we have name, notes. So basically it's just name and notes that we need to put in there. So document name. Class, oops. Control, and we'll say this one is going to be named name. That's pretty simple. Group. We'll say label. And then this one is going to be document notes. And then this one will make a text area. Form dash control. This one's going to be notes. All right, great. Document notes, form control. We don't need an ID on this one. And then we need a place to actually add our file. So form dash group. And we'll say label. And this one will be select a file. Input.form dash group dash file. File. And name, we're going to call file. And then we'll say button.btn.btn-primary. And we'll say store document. Okay. Add a document, we can see this actually shows up. So that's great. Couple other things I want to do in here. One, I'm going to say span with text dash muted. All right, and then up here, let's see what this looks like. Add a document. Okay, great. Last thing to do on this one. Okay, I'm going to leave that here for now. We're sitting at just over an hour for this particular episode, and in the next one we'll work on prospect documents, prospect document management, and probably setting up like a feed of follow-ups to do. So like right at the top of our page here, we're probably going to want to do like scheduled follow-ups or something in there. It might be like client notified follow-up. It might be just like a cold outreach follow-up, something like that. But we'll have an actual follow-ups table, and something that will actually go over into the front of our site as well, to as kind of a notification of, okay, this is how you handle, these are the things you need to do in your day, and this is the order with which you have it printing out from your database. So for now, we'll leave it at that. Got any questions, definitely leave them in the comments below. We've got more content like this coming out, so definitely like and subscribe. All right, have a good one.